Hello, everybody, and welcome to Survival Preparedness for Beginners. I am glad to see everyone here. We have a very important live stream tonight that we really need to talk about. And there is so much stuff that is going on right now. It just isn't even funny anymore. Um, I think people are turning a blind eye to a lot of things that are going on. And that's why the title of this live stream was Brace for Impact, Hard Times Ahead. And I really do appreciate everybody taking time out of their 4th of July weekend. I really do appreciate that. And I hope everybody is having a great weekend with their friends and family and celebrating the 4th of July, something that we really need to do. A lot of people think it's all about barbecues and fireworks, but there's more to it than that. But that isn't what this live stream is about. I'd like to, real quick, just go in and like to thank all of my moderators that are in here. Um, Everybody already knows who most of the moderators are. And if you don't know, Coffee First and Speak, Jan, JT, and I think he's in here. South, is he here? South Florida DCL. Yep, he is here. Um, we are really on the verge of something really bad that's taking place. There's quite a few things that are really stacking up against us right now. And people really need to wake up and smell the roses. And what I'm talking about is I'd like to say there is all these different things that are slowly building up, and we don't know how this is going to play out in the end. And what I am talking about is the reason we have to brace for impact is because we've already had the feds have stated that they're probably going to raise the interest rates even more because they're just not happy with the way things are going, which, in a sense, I think is going to be very bad for our country. It's going to really raise the interest rates to a point to where people are not going to be able to afford their homes, or they're not going to be able to afford their payments on their credit cards. It's going to make it to where people are not going to be able to afford their daily essential items, food, um, supplies, these type of things, everything that you use on a daily basis. One thing that you really have to really consider and think about in this whole situation that is going on right now is the fact that there are certain things we can control and there are certain things that we can't control. And what I am talking about is the fact that there are a lot of very intricate points that are really coming together that are going to affect us in the coming year. Let's take, for instance, all right, we got quite a few things that we can really touch on here. All the severe weather that has been taking place across the um, South, the Midwest, and everything else. And this has taken a huge toll on a lot of people. It's taken a huge toll on a lot of farmers, and it's taken a huge toll on a lot of normal, everyday people, just like you and me, that all of a sudden they are completely wiped out. They don't have a home anymore. Um, in some of these towns, the jobs that they worked at are completely gone. They have no home. And what are they going to do? Really? We have this heat dome that has been set up And I know everybody has had to seen this, heard this, or something, depending on your situation with right over Texas, and now it is moving up into the Midwest and up that way. And why is that important? During growing season, most of your products that you do grow require a certain amount of heat. But once the heat gets too hot with the lack of rain or water, then you start having issues with the growing season. Compound that with this heat dome has been around for how many weeks now? And it is growing in size. Now, let's throw in the fires in Canada and the smoke that is coming from the north, coming down through. It keeps coming through like every between 7 and 14 days. It has been coming down through, and it's getting somebody. It's hitting the Midwest. It's hitting, comes down through Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, hits Iowa, Ohio, comes down to Pennsylvania, parts of New York, DC, and all these different areas. As this heat dome is expanding and moving north, the smoke and stuff is expanding and coming south because of the jet stream is so out of whack because of El Nino. Now, why does that matter? Here's why this all matters. We have extreme heat that is moving over the main part of our area in our country that grows a lot of our food, corn, soybeans, all this different types of stuff. Now, what happens is, all right, now we have the smoke coming in from the north. And what's the smoke doing? The smoke is filtering out exactly what these plants need: sunlight. It's filtering the sunlight. And every day the sunlight is filtered, the plant doesn't grow as much. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. You don't have to go to college to be a weatherman to understand what is taking place here. But nobody is really talking about the consequences of what is going to happen when these two entities, this heat dome and the smoke, that's supposed to continue on until the end of the year, mind you, because the fires are so huge in Canada that they're not even worrying about most of these fires, is just trying to let them burn out. Well, they just keep burning and burning and burning. I don't know how many millions of acres now has burned. Last time I saw it was like almost 8 million acres. That's a lot. So all this smoke is coming down through. It's affecting people's health. It's affecting our growing season. You got the heat dome coming north, which is doing just the same thing. The high heat is affecting everybody that is, has any problems. If you have asthma, if you have COPD, if you have any of these things, this is all affecting that. And we haven't even had a hurricane yet. But the devastation in the middle of the country here is mind boggling. We've had more tornadoes than you can shake a stick at. In some places that don't typically get tornadoes. We've had hail the size of grapefruits. It's been all over social media, folks. Why is this? Is somebody really screwing around with our weather? Is somebody trying to play God out there and trying to, I don't know, something's going on. Then we have to really, this is all just taking place in our country, right? In our little puny country right here, this is what's taking place here. Now you have the West that is going to start heating up per the forecast, and they're going to be starting to heat up. And then what's going to take place out there? That's the other part of our growing area. California, those areas out there. There are certain areas out west that actually grow rice that is harvested and sold right here in this country. But if they can't, I mean, we have this we had this huge, incredible winter season this year. And in this winter season, the amount of snow that fell in the mountain ranges out in the Sierra Nevadas and all that was just astronomical. I mean, history making. I mean, you're talking about 1,000-year event. I mean, some people probably thought it was the new ice age if you lived up in there, you know? But now all that snow has really melted away. Lakes that have been dry for years that was turned into farmland is now all underwater because Mother Nature reclaimed the land that is hers. So, on top of these different situations that are going on, what is this going to affect for us before I move on to other things that are taking place? What I am really talking about here is this is going to affect the amount of food that's going to be on the grocery store shelves when you go to buy food this coming fall, winter, and spring. Now, what can we do? It is very important because the reason you need to brace for an impact, because this is not going to be no soft landing. I don't give a shit what the government says. Okay. Think about it, folks. Put your thinking caps on and think about the repercussions of all these different such scenarios that are coming together all at once. And what is it that we can do to try to succeed in surviving these situations and being prepared now? Number one, if you can, try to start growing some of your own food. There's millions of ways that you can grow your food. You can grow it in your home now. They have all these different types of things that you can buy. Now, granted, maybe people don't have a lot of money, but you can grow stuff in your house. You can grow stuff on your patio. You can grow stuff. I mean, I have carrots, lettuce. I already harvested my radishes that I did on my porch. I mean, you can grow some stuff. But you need to make an attempt. Number two, you need to make sure that you are trying to go through your stock now. And I urge everyone that's out there to go through your stock, your pantries, your cupboards, wherever you store your food, and take the time to really see what you do have. Because here's why. Right now is the perfect time for you to try to be putting up certain different types of products. Canned veggies, whatever you want. You name it, it's out there. Shop around. I would highly suggest, if people don't want to rely on freezing meat because of maybe you don't have a way to power that freezer if something happens with a power outage, which they are still threatening with this heat dome. And then the severe weather has caused severe power outages throughout the country and the Midwest, all the way down to the South. So canned meat would be a good idea. Right now, the best time to be buying beans is right now. Beans is the only thing on the stock market that has gone down in price, in which you should be capitalizing on at this moment right now in order to put something away for a rainy day. And if you do it right, these beans will last you for a couple decades here. It's all on how you do it. We have to start really thinking and processing all this different information that is coming in. Yes, we have to decipher between the BS and what is true. And we have to try to make sure that what we are doing is implementing a safety net for our families. We don't have a choice. There's going to be nobody there to help you out. You know, we're pushing what, 330 million people in this country with a deficit of what, 30 plus trillion dollars? Who do you think is going to be there to help you out? Who do you think is going to be there to give you a hand when your family doesn't have anything to eat? Why is it so very important to brace for an impact? Because I'm telling you, it's not going to be a soft landing for a lot of people out there. And these hard times are coming. I know it's a 4th of July weekend, and I really didn't want to do a video like this today. But I felt really deep in my heart and my soul that it was very important for me to put this message out today. I wanted to do a different style live stream today, but that wasn't feasible. I didn't feel that was right. I felt that this had to be said, and people need to know in order for them to be aware so people can be prepared. Now, a lot of this does, make me kind of upset, a little bit angry in a sense, because I think a lot of this stuff that we are being put through right now is all driven by somebody. I have to be careful on what I say and how I say it on this platform. Read between the line, folks. We have the most divided country I've ever seen, and I don't know how long. And we have so many things that are going haywire that seems to be dividing us even more. Now, is it planned? I don't know. Is it something that we can control? To a point. Is it something that history says is going to happen again? I'm a big fan of look at history and see what happened and see how people dealt with situations so that we know how to be prepared when those situations or those type of scenarios roll back around and we can be ready. We all have grandparents, and I'm sure all your grandparents and stuff, they were, whether they believed it or they not, or they wanted to be classified or not, they were a certain type of prepper because this is how they were taught is how you need to survive. You didn't rely on the government to give you food stamps. You didn't rely on the government to give you a handout. You didn't rely on FEMA to come around and say, okay, we'll take care of this for you and everything else. You didn't rely on certain companies to come around and say, we'll give you a loan to help you get back on your feet and everything else. You're going to pay us, 40% interest and this type of stuff. They relied on the simple fact that they were taught by their parents, by your great grandparents, to be a sustainable person on their own. Yes, they did work with other people. They did have community. They did barter back and forth. Eggs for butter, butter for milk, whatever. It was done. It was proven that it works. But you see, in today's society, people have lost the whole fact that this actually does work. People do not realize exactly what we are in for. A lot of people out there, they have blinders on, folks. And I don't want that for anybody that is in this community or even that is watching my video, whether you choose to hit that subscribe button or not. I do not want this to happen to you. I want you to be prepared for you and your family. If you choose to take the path of least resistance and take the steps that are necessary for you to turn around and be successful in your own prepping, whether you want to be called a prepper or not, you can do it in a closet. I don't care. I don't care how you do it. In all reality, you don't really want it out there anyways. There's a lot of things that you can be doing right now to be successful in this crusade against all of us. You see, because the government doesn't really like the fact that there are people out there like me, like you, and everybody else that wants to be prepared and wants to have a whole plan and be ready for the coming times. Now, I do get a lot of these comments and stuff, and people state, I put all my faith in God and He will take care of me. Here's my thought. I believe in God. I have faith in God and everything else. But if you really read the good book, the good old Bible there, it says that you need to be prepared. You need to be able to provide for your family. You need to be aware of your surroundings and choose your battles wisely. You really have to sit back and think about your rights and your family. What is the one thing that you can really be doing right now? Ask yourself that question right now. What is the one thing that I could be doing right now that could impact my family and my family's lives down the road if things go south really quick? The storms are still raging. On a daily basis, the storms are still raging across the country. There's severe weather everywhere. The smoke is still coming down from the north. The heat is still building from the south. Out west is going to get their share of all of this. And there hasn't been one hurricane that has hit the country yet. Now, on a global standpoint, there is so much chaos in this world right now. If you do believe in the good book, you would really be sitting back and saying, wow, this is the end times. You would. If you sit there and you really wanted to capitalize on anything, you take a look at what is going on around us. Okay, we kind of have a little safety net here, right? I mean, we're kind of, in America, we have a nice little safety net around us. But everything else in this big world that we live in is going south really quick. Look what just happened in France, over in Paris. I mean, they had all these riots and everything else, and buildings are burning down. I mean, the whole nine yards. It's just mass chaos no matter where you go. And then you have the whole thing with the war with Ukraine and with Russia. and how supposedly, Putin was sitting there and saying that, well, I mean, it was a coup and they were trying to take me out, and now he's trying to take out all these other people and everything else. Meanwhile, back here at home, we're still taking and plugging away and sending billions of dollars across the pond, rather it be in money or military equipment and ammo. We're funding through the back door a war. And how long before this drags out into something other than us not having boots on the ground? How long before somebody pushes the wrong damn button? And then what? We're already not getting any grain out of Russia anymore. Ukraine, well, they can't get anything done. I mean, they may have some in the southern part of Ukraine, more towards like the Poland border, but then they still have to get it out of there to get it to the world. You see, with everything that is going on and all the different instances that are taking place on a daily basis, and the story changes constantly, minute by minute. And why? Why is it important for us to pay attention to any of this? Maybe you don't want to pay attention to what's going on across the pond. For one, I could really sit here and agree with a lot of people that say they really don't pay attention to what's going on across the pond because they don't know what is true and what isn't true. And that is a true statement. It'd be one thing if we knew exactly what was going on and what the repercussions of this could be. Over here in our own little country, in our own little world, we know what's going on. We know what's taking place. We know what is changing. We don't have to have the media sitting here and giving us some BS story and only telling us a quarter of the truth because they only tell us what they want us to know. Why do you think there's so many YouTube channels that speak the truth or try to get the word out have been hacked this year so far? There's a ton of us. I was one of them. Luckily, I got my channel back, thank God. And now I have a lot of safeguards put in place between Google and YouTube and my computer system. It's locked down like Fort Knox. Does that mean that they can't get to it? No, it doesn't. But I've done everything I possibly can do to protect what I have been doing and what we have built over the past almost 4 years. October will be 4 years I've had my YouTube channel. And I'm very thankful for everybody that has helped along the way to build this channel into a great community full of a lot of great, inspiring people that are willing to help people on a whim if they have questions, they don't understand something. So it doesn't matter if you're new to prepping, doesn't matter if you've been prepping all your life. You're welcome here. Yes, the name is Survival Preparedness for Beginners. But you know what? You have to have people with knowledge in your community to help affiliate the need, the necessity, how to, and everything else to the community so everyone understands what is going on. You see, folks, it all stems from one thing. We're not divided. We're together. And how important is that? In the times that we live in. We sit back and we really think things through. Preppers are probably, to a lot of people, some of the most scariest people. For the simple fact is, we analyze and think differently than most people think. We try to plan ahead for the unknown. We try to make sure if something is happening, we're analyzing that situation prior to making a response, an action, or a verbal confrontation. Now, yes, as everybody has seen on this channel, you go through some of the comments and stuff, and you can tell who's a prepper and who's not a prepper. Read the comments. I've stopped blocking a lot of the comments. I'm just letting them go out there. So if you guys see these kind of people and you'd like to comment on them and maybe enlighten them into what they don't know anything about, because you can tell that by their comment, please do. We as a society have to really sit back and think about what is taking place and what is going on and how we can control what we can control. And the things we can't control, we have to try to plan around and try to figure out a solution before it's too late. We can plan on how to deal with maybe the possibility that is very great that it's going to be a very bad growing season for our country. We can plan for that right now. We can plan for the fact that a lot of different situations are really taking hold in this country. We know that this coming year in this election is going to be a very, very turmoil election, one like we've probably never seen before. If we thought 2020 was bad, I think this one's going to be even worse. And that could have implications on a lot of different things, depending on what people do while this is taking place. So those are things that you need to plan for. What are you going to do if this turns into a chaotic mess? Are you going to try to be ready? Are you going to try to be prepared? Are you going to try to do what you can now in order to offset a lot of these things? Are you going to want to take your family and go to the store, but you don't want to go to the store by yourself? So maybe you need to find a group or a neighbor, a friend, a relative, or something else. Because the world is full of evil and sick people, and they want to do nothing but destroy the good that is left in this world. It's very obvious. It's written right there for everybody to see. We are the ones that have to sit back and make sure what we are doing, what we are planning, what we have in store for us is enough. It's very efficient. You have to be very consuming on what you have as far as all your daily necessities that you use on a daily basis in order for you to be able to make a good determination on where to spend your hard-earned money right now. Because in the end, folks, it is you against them. And that's what it's going to come down to. The people that aren't prepared are going to be knocking on all of our doors or possibly even breaking them down. This brace for impact, because there's no soft landing, is so true. They have us where they want us. It is up to you to decide if that's where you're going to stay. You see, there's a lot of people that like to sit there and they want to straddle that fence. And that's okay. Because in this country, everybody has the right to their own opinion. Right? But here's where the problem lies. Depending on which side of that fence you're going to decide to get off on is what's going to determine how your future is going to play out. Let's fall back in time. March of 2020. When the pandemic came storming through and everybody was storming the stores. People were fighting over all these different types of things, toilet paper, paper towels, what food was left in the stores. You would have thought it was Armageddon. But for the very few, and out of the 330 million in this country, when I say very few, I mean very few of us that were prepared, that had a plan, that was able to avoid these situations, avoid the stores, avoid the chaos, stay home, keeping our families safe. Which side of that fence do you wish that you would have stepped off of prior to March of 2020? You see, after that, there was a big push for a lot of different people, and a lot of people really got on the prepping bandwagon. But then as the pandemic kind of eased up and everything else, everybody just thought, well, okay, it's all over. We don't have to do anything. Nothing else is going to happen. We're good to go. That's a very wrong situation to take. There is more viruses that they are starting to find now, especially over in China, and they are all coming around. We had the big bird flu that came through, wiped out a lot of the chickens and everything else. Now what do we have? The FDA approves, 2 different companies to grow chicken. Yep, good old lab-born chicken. And here's the funny thing. I was talking with my wife before I came on air, and I just had a kind of a funny thought. These 2 companies that none of us really know much about, all right, they get approval from the FDA to genetically modify chicken, but they can't do it yet in mass production. But it is going to be rolling out to a couple of restaurants that I told you about. And it's also going to be rolled out, in another way also. But here's the thing. These 2 companies that we know nothing about, they got FDA approval. Who did Bill Gates piss off in the government that he hasn't got FDA approval yet for his lab-grown meat that he's been working on for years? I did a video on it last year. I mean, think about it. You've got Bill Gates and 2 unknowns. The 2 unknowns got FDA approval. Bill Gates hasn't. Why? Does Bill Gates maybe own these 2 companies behind the closed doors? Is funding it? Since he already has his steak industry. I don't know. Time will tell. But this is where we're headed. This is the future of our country for your kids, my grandkids, and everything else. And I don't like the way that this is going. And I think unless something drastically changes really soon, this country is going to go down the tubes really quick. We have all these huge companies that are posting billion-dollar profits, but they don't want to do anything for their employees. There's a lot of them. A lot of the major corporations, Walmart, Amazon, two big ones. They don't want to do anything for their employees. They could care less. And actually, Walmart is they're contradicting themselves. You know, I have a video coming out later on. It'll probably be out next Sunday. But I talk about how Walmart is really changing and how they're going to change in the next 3 years is their goal. And what they want to do is very upsetting, and to the point of they don't even care about their employees anymore. Read between the lines. These morons make these statements that, oh, well, what we're going to do is going to produce more jobs. Do you think we're all that stupid? I mean, really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people are, but I mean, when you sit back and you start talking about automation, AI, computers, robots, and everything else doing a lot of the things, 65% of the stuff in your stores and your warehouses, why are you going to be keeping people around? Can somebody explain that to me? Really? So in general, if people work at Walmart, maybe you may want to start prepping now and give yourself the time you need between now and 2026 in order, because you got 2.5 years. Well, they said by the end of 2026. So we'll give you 3 years. But you need to be getting yourself ready in case maybe you don't have a job anymore. And Lord only knows what is going to be available at that point in time. The way that AI is running rapid, the way that the robots are all starting to take over, animation and kiosk and everything else. They're replacing everybody. Go to Walmart. How many times you find more than one lane open that actually has a cashier? No, they want you doing it all yourself. I personally think if they want us to do it all ourselves, we should save at least 10% off our order. If my order is $200, well, I just saved $20 because I just had to ring myself up and beg myself out the door. And in a lot of places now, we're all, we can't have plastic anymore because we can't take care of it properly. And then instead of putting it in the dumps and the landfills and the oceans, there's no way that we can do anything around it. Explain to me then, why is it the Walt Disney World, they incinerate everything because they've had these high-tech incinerators for years. That's what powers Magic Kingdom. I mean, come on. It's right there in black and white. They don't want that kind of stuff. Why do you think, like over in Sweden and all these areas where they have these types of technologies, they don't have pollutants? They don't have landfills that are, here in Florida, if you see a mountain, it's a landfill. I got one right down the road from me. I pass it every day when I go to work. It's the only mountain around, and it's a landfill. Why? They spend all these millions of dollars on all this different types of stuff. And for what? What are they doing? They don't even have a clue anymore. Most of these people in governments are no different than a damn ostrich with their head stuck in the damn sand. And tell me I'm wrong. Please do. And you want to know why people are so angry and so divided. It doesn't start with the people, folks. It starts with the government, with the people in there. Give me a number one if you agree. I mean, come on. We are, this is just getting crazy. Every time you turn around, people are just like, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Is this going on? I tell you what, if we could really sit back and we really could come together in the government and they could stop bickering back and forth that I'm so sick and tired of hearing about. And let's tackle the main problems that we are facing right now in this country. Maybe we could get something done. But no, we can't. We can't do it. We no longer have just a Democrat and a Republican. We have a Democrat. We have the left wing of the Democrats. We have the Republicans. We have the left wing of the Republicans, and then, we didn't even throw in the independents yet, And I mean, everybody is like out for blood here. And I think a lot of people have got away from what really matters in this country. And what I am talking about is us. The survival and the privatization and the equality that we so desperately need in this country. We have veterans that are sleeping on the streets. Why? Why do we have veterans sleeping on the streets, can't afford food, can't afford their medicine or anything else, but yet we can send billions of dollars across the pond? I have a problem. Maybe you don't, but I do. We have more children in this country that are going without meals, that are going, they don't have a place to live. They're homeless because of whatever reason. Maybe they have loser parents, but maybe their parents are actually working, but they don't make enough money to afford the apartments that they're charging an astronomical amount for to put a roof over their heads for their family. Maybe. This is the issue, folks. This is what I'm trying to get everybody to avoid. You all have to brace for impact, because if you don't, this isn't going to be a soft landing for none of us. And it's all on how you prepare today is how your landing will be tomorrow. We need to spread the word. We have to make sure that people are aware. Spread it on your social media accounts. Spread it on whatever you have. Get the word out that people need to be prepared. Now, if you don't want to talk to these people or whatever else, then share this video or any of the videos that may be on my channel that you really like, that you think might inspire someone, whether it's your family, your friends, neighbors, whoever it could be, to even think about maybe getting it all put together and prepared for a rainy day. You don't have to go into the whole discussion and things like what I just did. Now, I'm not saying you have to sit there and you have to force this down people's throats. Mention it to them. Give them subtle little hints. If you're in the store and you see them buying, a 5 pound bag of rice, say, hey, if you picked up that 20-pound bag, you can put some of that and store it away. You even have to buy rice for quite a while. It's a lot cheaper. You're buying in bulk. And maybe they'll click and they'll be like, hey, that's a pretty good idea, And then you could explain to them, well, I know how to, I know how to store that, to make it last a real long time if you're interested. If not, if you put it into a sealed plastic container or something, it's going to last for quite a few years. But if you want to put it away for longer, I can tell you how to do it if you're interested. If you're not, that's fine. I'm just trying to help you. This is a suggestion. What I want to know is out of everybody that is out here on this 4th of July weekend, as you spend it with all your friends and your family, and you enjoy your barbecues, which I know all of us love, and you enjoy your time with your loved ones and friends. When you look around the room, do you see people that are prepared? Do you see people that are willing to think about preparing? Or do you see people that believe that nothing's going to happen? Everything will be just fine. We'll go to work 9 to 5. I'll have plenty of money for food. Food will always be on the shelf. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just saying, something that we really need to think about as just sitting around. Because right now is a really good time for a lot of people to be prepping certain products that come September are going to be going through the roof. And I have a video coming out about that soon. My main goal today, and I'm sorry this is a totally different live stream than I've done, but I wanted to get this message out. I knew I had a lot to say, and I wanted to make sure that all of you are aware that brace for impact, folks, because this landing, it's going to feel like we just fell out of the sky like a meteor hitting the earth, unless you're prepared. And that is all I have really to say. I just hope everybody heeds this serious warning. Now, I'm not sitting here, and as you all know, if you know my channel, I'm not a fearmonger at all. I'm trying to tell you the truth on what is taking place right before our eyes. It's all right out there. A lot of you probably are going through it. Either the heat, the smoke, the disasters that are taking place with the weather. Maybe you have friends or family that are overseas and what they're going through. It's only a matter of time, folks. Our numbers are slowly running out. And at some point, you will be very happy that you are well prepared. Now, we're almost out of time, and I want to jump in here and do what I normally do on the very beginning, is just recognize some people and stuff. And then I'm gonna let everybody go. Oh, wait. There is a poll that is coming out at 9:00 in 4 minutes. When you all leave this live stream, you need to go to that poll and read it and vote the way that you would like. I've already put it out to the members, and now I want to see what you all think. So make sure you go to that poll at 9 o'clock and you make sure that you do get in there and vote and make it count. Okay. So let's see here. South Florida, DCL. I love you. All right. I love you too, man. JT, very glad to see you. Thank you for being here. I hope your husband and stuff's doing a lot better. Coffee first. Once again, thank you very much. I really do appreciate everybody. Sunset's good to see you. Linda's good to see you. Let's see here. Jan, there's Jan. How you doing, Jan? I'm glad you were here. You guys are always here. You guys are great. Teresa's here. Gypsy's here. There's a lot of new folks in here tonight. Haleas. I don't know. Maybe I butchered that. I'm sorry. I'm not really good with names. Charles, we needed to hear this again and recognize its urgency. Thank you, Lorraine. I really do appreciate that. Cassie's here. Let's see here. Cheryl's here. Rockamas, nice to see you. Michael's here. It will catch people by surprise. Yes, it will, Michael. You are so right. Linda's here. RCX is here. I think you already got the Watchman. Let's see here. Lefty Lisa, nice to see you. Johnny, how you doing, Johnny? Let's see here. Frank's here. Cheryl's here. Let's see who else. My hopes. West Tex Muck. Nice to see you. Cassie's here. Dun, dun, dun. T-Rex is here. We're all just a bunch of crazy preppers here on this channel, I'm told. Well, you know what? They can call me crazy all they want. I'll put on my tinfoil hat and I'll go over there and I'll be just fine. But when the shit hits the fan, brother, we're going to be all right. And that's what this is all about. $5 in Florida back in the 90s went a long way. Now you couldn't buy eggs. Yeah, eggs is the one thing that has come down in price a little bit, I must say. I mean, but I get what you're saying because it is true. I mean, go to the store. If I had the extra cash, I'd really like, what was it, a year and a half, 2 years ago? I can't remember. And I did a $300 grocery haul. And the amount of food, I mean, go back and search this video, folks, because it's just incredible. And the amount of food that I received, well, I bought. I didn't receive it. I bought it. But I'd like to have the $300 right now and go do the same thing and see what I would get. And then compare those two videos side by side and see what we get. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be a hell of a lot less than what I got back then. Seniors are losing their homes to taxation. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of people that, I mean, you know, all my neighbors are brain dead. Yeah, I've got a few of those too. Matthew, trucking. Everyone needs to plan for the worst case. SHTF. ASAP should have been getting ready 2 years ago. Yes, I do totally agree with that one. That was very, very communism. Nowadays, I wouldn't put anything past anybody. Patty, how you doing, Patty? Nice to see you. We're going back up through here. All right, it's 9 o'clock, everybody. We're going to be getting off here shortly. Patrick King, how are you? Let me just drop down to the bottom. All right. Now, I want everybody to make sure that you do have a little known prepper. Nice to see you. I want everybody to make sure that you do have a great holiday weekend with your friends and family. Or if you're spending it by yourself, I just pray that you do have a relatively good weekend. I want people to be aware. I want people to recognize the importance of this video. I want you all to share this video with at least one person, and try to spread the word, because I'm afraid that this impact is going to be very hard for a lot of people to swallow. And I'm trying my best to get the word out to save as many families as I can from the heartache that is going to be coming. The writing's on the wall. The things are happening right in front of us. Don't keep the blinders on, folks. Keep your eyes wide open. Make sure you're paying attention. And always remember, because I have a feeling, and I've read a few different articles, I don't have proof on it, but come September, you're going to start seeing a lot of sales go away. You're going to see a lot of the buy one, get ones going down because they're going to try to make sure that they're holding on to products because they're not going to have enough going around. I'm still doing research on the 2 articles that I have found, and I pray that they're wrong, but something tells me in my gut they're not. So I'm Survival Preparedness for Beginners. I'd like to thank all my members that showed up today. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the mods for being here. I'd like to thank all of you for taking time out on your 4th of July weekend to spend it with good old me. It means a lot to me. You people are the reason why I keep doing what I am doing. I have days when I wish I'd just hang everything up and be done with it. But then I think of the promise that I have made to this community, and I want to make sure that I do this so that all of you will be prepared and will have a safe landing. So brace for impact, folks. Hard times are coming. I'm Survival Preparedness for Beginners. Till next Saturday, I'll catch all of you on the flip side.